Hello, hello. I'm so excited to be here. How has everybody been doing? We have had so many amazing presenters, and it's so much wonderful information. And I'm even still catching up with everything. So, today we're here talking about the moon. Hello, everybody. So, we are talking about manifesting with the moon and magical manifesting with the moon. So there's so many things. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Um, so my book that is going to be coming out next year is at this point, which sometimes it changes, but it's magical manifesting with the moon. All those things I just said. So because we don't have a lot of time, I'm going to jump right into it. I'm hoping to be able to take some questions at the end. So, and if I see anything pop in the chat and I'm able to answer it quickly, I will do that as well. So, why do we want to manifest? What is manifesting? Really, manifesting is really having a focused intention, right? A focused intention on what you want. And then it's taking that focused intention and creating some action steps, doable action steps to make it a reality, bring it into your space. Let the universe know, like, hey, I'm ready to receive this, right? So, really quick, that is manifesting, right? And there are so many ways to go about it. Hello, everybody. Um, there's so many ways to go about it. There's so much advice out there. So when somebody wants to go ahead and start doing this, it can be overwhelming. And really just kind of going, well, I want to manifest $1 million. That's it. What's going to happen? Absolutely not. I mean, you might get lucky. You might get lucky, but really, probably not much is going to happen. So when we bring in the moon, right, we know the moon affects us all. It affects everything on this planet. It affects it just affects everything. It's that energy. We're made of water. The moon's made of water. So bringing that in, we're going to take that energy of all the different moon phases and we're going to use that to really create like a moon manifesting blueprint to help you be successful in what it is that you want to bring into your life. Thank you. And so by doing that, it also gives you a time frame. It gives you what steps that you can take with each moon phase, because each moon phase there is a different energy. And when you can put it all together, it really does. It helps to just give you a clear path on how you can manifest and what you should do and what you should be doing. Like what should I be doing on the full moon? What should I be doing on the waxing crescent moon, right? So just quickly, I want to go through, thank you for my tattoo. Thank you. Really go through right now. I'm going to go through kind of quick what the energy is. And I outline all of this in my book. And each chapter is each phase of the moon. And we're going to have a ritual. We're going to have different steps and activation. So many things. Tarot, we're bringing some tarot into it to help us kind of define those little action steps. Because sometimes, even though we know that we have to do a certain action step maybe on that first quarter moon. It's a big action step. Sometimes we don't know which one to do. So we're going to bring some tarot into that, and that'll help us define it as well. So, for the new moon, obviously we're going to create that intention. And that's the beginning. And we just had a new moon the other day, right? So if you still want to do that, you can. You can work with the moon's phases for 3 days. So even though that it is constantly changing, you want, if you need to take that time, you can. Even though I give you that blueprint, it's still yours and you still can customize it to what works for you. And sometimes some people just want to start out using the major phases of the moon, the new moon, the first quarter moon, and just working with those until they get really used to doing it and what works for them as well. So we have that new moon creating that intention. So when we created intention, we really want to feel like it can happen. So again, back to that $1 million intention. Can we manifest $1 million? Maybe. It's possible. But how does it feel like when you think that? And we'll say that 30-day cycle, the moon cycle is 28, 30 days. Do you think you can do that in a month? For the most part, probably not. But what can you do to bring you closer to that? So maybe this moon cycle, I'm going to work on getting my finances in order. Does that feel like something that could happen? Is it fun? That's probably not so much fun. But yeah, because you know what? It's going to bring you closer. And it's definitely really something that you can go ahead and start and work towards. And then so you're going to be doing this a couple of moon cycles, and maybe after you do it for 6 months, who knows, you'll be that much closer, right? So the next one we want to do is the waxing crescent. So right now we're in the waxing crescent. Today is actually waxing crescent in Cancer. So we have that watery energy. We have that that kind of flow going on. So as we moved past creating our intention, now it's time to start thinking about what those action steps are and really working on aligning your energy to these action steps, right? So today, and being that it's in Cancer, it's a really good day to connect with yourself and really decide, like, what are these action steps that are going to be effective for me, that I can really step into, and making a list. It's super easy. Just even if you make a list and then pull a card for each one to see which ones that are going to work for you the best. So the next one we move into that is the first quarter moon. So the first quarter moon is that big step, that big action, and we're coming up to that. And so as you're defining these little steps, this first quarter moon coming up, what is that big action going to be? What is that big thing? Maybe if we're going to use the money example, we're going to pay off a credit card, because we've been kind of just paying that minimum just to kind of keep it going, make sure it's staying in the green. But this, you know what, we're going to go ahead. Maybe we're going to take that leap and we're going to go ahead and pay it off. Done. Big action, right? So then we move on. And then we move on to the waxing gibbous moon. And now we're kind of assessing how it's all feeling. Like, when we pay something off, it makes us feel, that's great. It's awesome, right? So we're going to use that energy to create more action steps to move forward. And I'm just going through this pretty quickly. And like I said, it all defines in my book, and there's so much information for you to use, but we are limited on time. So then we move into the full moon. So the full moon generally is great for releasing and all of that. But in my book, the full moon is we're using it for balance, because we're taking the light and the dark of the full moon. Because when we see her in the sky in the full moon, she's bright and shining on us, right? But then on the other side, we have the dark side of the moon too. And both of those, that polarity is really important when we're trying to really bring our intention to life. So taking that time for that balance. And in my book too, I use the sun and the moon as the two tarot cards for that, because the moon is also, that full moon is, the moon itself, like we've been talking about here with our charts and all that, is our emotion. It's our inner self. So it's really taking a look at our inner self, how we are feeling and how this is moving along. And then our outer self, like what those action steps are. What are we doing on the outside to make it all happen, and bringing that together? So the full moon is a little bit different when we're trying to manifest. And you can always, again, it's always what resonates with you. If you are hardcore, like, full moons I use for releasing, then do that. Release maybe some doubt of if they are starting to creep in, because that's something that definitely happens, right? And that's realistic. And we have to know that. And we have to know that, yeah, these things are going to creep in, and these doubts are going to creep in, but that's okay, because there's a reason for that. And sometimes that is just our shadow self or our ego just jumping out like, hey, this is coming up for you. Maybe you got to take a peek at that, right? And that's okay because our ego is there to protect us. And it can be loud and it can be a jerk sometimes. We know that's a thing. And we can't let it overtake everything going on, but we can check ourselves and we can see where we're at and decide how we're going to move forward. So then that brings us to our waning gibbous. So when we're, after that full moon energy, we know that we're starting to kind of go towards the end of the cycle at that point, and also where we are in our manifestation. So when we get to that point, we want to kind of reignite our passion. We want to bring ourselves to that new moon where we were so excited, right? And everything was going, we were like, the possibility is there. It's endless. It can happen. And now, we kind of went past that full moon. We're bringing that balance in. And now we're like, you know what? Where we are is okay. And no matter how far you get in your month of, working with your manifestation, it's exactly where you need to be. And at that point, you need to realize that, yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm supposed to do. And it's going to bring me closer. And of course, it may take a couple of moon cycles. And I think that's something too, that when people work with the moon and work with manifesting, they expect it to happen in that 30-day period. And it doesn't always do that. It does sometimes take a couple of cycles because the moon's like, oh, hey, you need to kind of work on these other things first before this manifestation can actually happen. So being patient is so important and really doing that. And let's see, do you find your natal moon phase shapes manifesting with the moon? So I think that yes, you can see how, especially when the moon is in your sign, in your moon sign, that's almost kind of like, I like to call it like power hour, or that power day, because that energetically you're super aligned. So that day you may want to do an extra little deep dive or create another extra, action step to take you along and move you along. So use those and definitely take advantage of that and keep track of that. And, I love my moon apps. I have it on my phone and it really does help me keep track because I like to see every day and because I'm somebody that, works with the moon all the time. So I'd like to really keep track of it. And the moon apps are always great too. Um, Let's see. Beyond the moon sign, I meant the specific phase. Like if you were born under a waning, yeah. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. So I was born under a full moon. I was born under full moon in Aries. So that is when I know I come up to that full moon in Aries, like again, having an app or having one of the calendars is always great because if you're looking ahead too and you're like, oh, hey, that full moon in Aries is coming up. I'm going big. Like I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try and, maybe something I wanted to bring in and manifest that I was like, I'm not sure I want to do that. No, this is the time. Say, excuse me, I want to do a proposal for a new book or I want to create something new, I'll definitely go ahead and do that. So to find out what phase of the moon you were born under, just go on Google and throw that in there because there's tons of there's tons of them. So you can go ahead and do that and you can throw in your birthday and then it'll pop it right up for you. Your birthday and your time. And so the moon phase changes every 2 hours in a natal chart. So if you don't know your exact time, if you're within that 2-hour time frame, you'll be good. So that is definitely something to keep in mind when you're doing that. Oh, good. Oh, I love that. Oh, under a Capricorn full moon. Whoa. So you are like the CEO of the full moons. That's what's going on. I love that. So, and then so we're gonna go now. We're headed to the last quarter moon. So with the last quarter moon, this is the time when you're going to release at this last big phase of the moon. It's time to release your expectation, your doubts, what you thought was going to happen during this phase, how it was going to happen. It's time to let that go and really kind of shake all of that away to see where you're at and look back and see where how far you've come, because you're a different person from that new moon to that last quarter moon. And things have happened. You've been taking action steps. So you're moving forward, even though you may not feel like that. You're moving forward. You're a different person. Things are happening. You've worked on things. So you are closer to that intention and that manifestation, all of that too. So this is what that last quarter moon we really like to use. So next then, the last phase is the waning crescent or the dark moon. And that's for the inner self reflection. And that's really time to just kind of like, okay, this is where it's at. This is what I've learned. Um, and take that, and we don't want to really plan right now. It's really just time to like just the moon's dark. You're just everybody's taking a minute to chill and just kind of see how everything went and see how we were feeling and how that, especially if it's the first time you do it. This phase is so important for you, just to kind of reinforce everything that happened, integrate it's all of that great stuff. And I give so many suggestions in my book, and and I also added in different recipes for the moon phases as well, so that you're also nurturing your body as well as your spiritual self and as well as your mind. So there's so many things that you can use, different tools, like I talked about. We use tarot. It's awesome. It's great to help you kind of define your action sense, your intention, how you're feeling. Journaling, lots of journaling prompts in there. There's crystals that we can use as well. There's oh my gosh, spell work. So we do some spell work, we do some activations, and an altar. Having a moon altar, yeah. Runa, yeah, right. Can you tell that I like food? I'm like, oh, Jen's gonna write a moon book. Oh wait, there needs to be food involved. I can't help it. It's just, that's just who I am. So yeah, so then we also can work with crystals to help us really, again, step into our emotions, help us connect, ground, because these are all so important. Because when we're working with the moon, we're all up here. We're working with all of that, that crown chakra, our intention, our spiritual self, our intuition. We're working with all that. But by using food, by using crystals, by using the journaling exercises and having a moon altar, it's a great place to just kind of center everything. And really, when we're using a moon altar, and it doesn't need to be fancy, and I talk about that as well. It doesn't need to be like fancy, which I already just said, but it's a place to focus your work, and and always have it somewhere where you see it, so you remember to as you go by, especially if you're working with the moon phases, you walk by it and you're like, oh yeah, that's right, let's go ahead, and I have to do my moon work today. I have to sit down. What am I going to journal about? Did I take that action step? How did that action step go? Is there a new action step that was now presenting itself from these other ones that we took to bring us closer? And it's definitely one of those things. Yes, no, I know. And basically, like, the chapter that I had, it's so long because I added so much stuff and so many different and recipes and all sorts of things in there. So it's gonna be so much fun. So what are we, manifesting money with the Nine of Swords and the Ace of Pentacles? Ooh, I like that. Like, taking it right off. And yeah, and journal, and I love the journal, to journal, to meditate, and all of those things. And what it is really finding what works for you. For some people, just sitting down with a pen and paper, it doesn't really inspire. It doesn't work for some people, right? Some people can sit and write and write and write and write. I'm a notebook person. I love my notebooks. I have way too many of them. But for some other people, maybe it's through dance. Maybe that's how you download new ideas, or just speaking it out loud, or working with goddesses. Because that's another thing that I had added in there, is working with goddesses and working with light and dark goddesses, because some people resonate more with the different types of goddesses. So I wanted to make sure that we had kind of a combination in there. And again, if you are looking through these things and you're deciding, it's really like I just put all of it in there so that you can create and customize your own moon manifesting plan to make sure that you're successful, to make sure you're successful. And that's something that was really important to me, because we are all so different. We are not cookie cutter, and that's what makes us magical in our own right, right? And so being able to kind of have a framework and then to detail it and customize it the way you want to make it work best for you, I really feel like that's how we are successful. Just right, so many people work read tarot, right? Way I read tarot, the way you read tarot may be very different, but somebody out there is wants our perspective, my perspective. They want your perspective, and that's what is working, that would work for them. So that's really why I try to make it kind of throughout. And again, I did the spell work. I talk about spell work. I love doing spell work. And speaking of spell work, I wanted to do a quick spell today. And if anyone has any questions, you can go ahead and throw them in there, because we only have 5 minutes left. So I want to do this quick spell for us real quick, and I'll answer as we are going along. So this one is really focused on this waxing crescent in Cancer that we're in right now. So I want to kind of work on our third eye and work on opening that creativity, so that you can really tap into your action steps and what you want to bring in and what you want to manifest for this new moon, because it only happened the other day. So if you want to start working with it, you do it. You do it. So yes, let's do that really quick. So I'm going to do a quick candle spell, and I'm using white because when we do candle spells, white is the universal one, super easy. And this one's really handy. Love anti because I jammed it in there. But so I'm going to write on that. And first, quickly, I'm trying to do it really quick. I'm playing with fire quickly. So let's hope we could do this. All right. Come on. So this is rosemary and rose, and I made this from my garden. I try to grow all my herbs. Oh, I include herbs in mine too as well, and oils. It's all the things. So go ahead and moon work and the chakras. So I include the chakras as well. And with each phase, I really like to kind of, if you start with the new moon as your crown, you can kind of work down the chakras with the phases of the moon that way. And that's a really, really quick way. So we're going to just kind of cleanse that real quick. And so what I want to do here is I'm going to kind of etch our intention into this candle real quick. And I'm going to say, let's see, open creative centers. How about that? Look at my nice big, you like that? Okay, so I etched that into the candle. And then next I want to dress the candle. And, we talked about rosemary is my favorite. So I have to, of course, rosemary to kind of clear any stagnant energy, right? And then I have white sage here, which I also grow myself. And that is just to kind of open up all of our centers. And actually, it has a little sugar in there because I want to just kind of like sweeten the deal. Let's bring all of that in. Oh, yes, it's hocus pocus time all day long. And then I have creativity oil. So I'm going to just drop that on there real quick. And this is total sloppy witch going on right now because we're running out of time. So and when we want to bring something to us, right? So we want to open the creative centers. We want to bring in that intuitive flow. We want to go towards us. So we always put the oil on towards us. I even have my little witch towel here. And then I'm going to just dress the candle. And because I can't do it that way, we're going to just kind of, I'm trying to do it really quick so we make sure we get it. But if anyone has any questions, definitely, throw them in the chat. And also too, while so I got our candle dress there, got some stuff. You can find me at Stardust Wanderer Tarot and all the things. Like I said, this book, Magical Manifesting with the Moon, should be out next year, along with my tarot deck, Enchanted Forest Felines. So that is also going to be out hopefully towards the end of next year. And you, like I said, Stardust Wanderer Tarot on all of the things. Jen Sankey, Google me, you'll find me. If you are coming from this, please say hello. I love to talk with everybody. So, all right, we have our candle here. It is dressed. Opening with our Slappy Witch time. I think we do need to make t-shirts. So I am going to go ahead and light this, and I usually use matches again just for time, and I want to say too, sometimes we can't do the super intense rituals, intense spells. And in my book too, I do things that are pretty easy with things that you have around your house, so you don't have to go ahead and go get all this stuff. I love using stuff that we have already because we have a lot of stuff around us we don't even know. So here we are, and I'm going to leave this candle. I'm going to let it burn down just to open everybody's third eye, your creative centers, to create some really cool action steps to bring you towards your intention for this month. So I have this here for you, and so it is, and so it is, and so it is. And I'm going to very carefully place this on my desk, and I'm going to let it burn down. And because I want, and this is anybody, if you're watching the replay as well, this is still active for you. So do not feel that you missed out on anything. We're going through time and space, baby. Like, we don't mess around here. When we do stuff, we're going through time and space. It is all relative. It's all as you need it, right? Even if you watch this a month from now, it's still there for you. So I think that's really, really important to also to know that even though we're working with these things, it's still fluid. It still can change. And going through and changing everything, if you're halfway through your intention, that's okay. And if you feel like, you know what, this isn't for me, then change it. Even though I have this guideline and all of this, it still doesn't mean that you can't change things. And that is all about us creating our own practice, right? And using our magic every day is that we can change. And that's like the best part. Like, we don't have to go by the rules. We can make up our own rules. Just like I can be a sloppy witch right now, or we can just go through space and time and decide that, you know what, I remember Jen did this candle spell, and I really feel like my creative centers need to be open. Then you can watch it, and boom, it's done. So it is done for sure. Yes, colors are so important too with that. If if you're trying to say you want to buy a new car and you really, really want a red car, right? Wear red all the time. Put that actual picture of whatever you want to manifest on your screensaver. That's really important too. So, it's really bringing out all the things, whatever you can think of, because you know what, if you're thinking of it, then it's a part of your magic. It's a part of your practice, and you want to include all of those things in. So I really think that, it's important to manifest. It's important to work with the moon, just because you learn a lot about yourself as well. And you don't, as you're going through this and you're doing these different activities, and even with anything today that you're learning about yourself. And that's just making you a more magical you. And that, that's exciting for me. I love that. I love seeing everybody do those things. So you're so, so very, very welcome. And I think that, oh, Natalie's asking, how do I get my third eye back? Well, it never goes away. It's always there. but grounding. And honestly, one of the really quick things I do in my book for your third eye is just closing your eyes, focusing your breathing, and tapping your third eye, and physically just see all of the like clouds. Like, I always see things as smoke, and it's like you're tapping it away, you're clearing it away to clear your third eye. That's a really easy way to do that as well. And yes, oh, absolutely. Yes. My notes app, forget it. There's a section in my notes app just for that. And yeah, it's for just creating that, even a Pinterest board is an altar. If you think about it, right? Do you want make a moon Pinterest board of what you want to, for your intention? Make it your screensaver. Go on there and change it as you do your different action steps and new things are emerging. Even if you just start your board with just what you want to bring in and then just start adding to it and creating that. Because, and one other thing I actually really wanted to bring up too is gratitude is so, so, so important when we are manifesting. So make sure you definitely do that. Make sure you are putting out what you are receiving and you are thanking the universe, because that also opens you up to receiving when we are being grateful. It's so important. Okay, Earl. Yeah, thank you. I'm so, yes, tech witch altars and mini witch altars in the little tin containers. Those things rock. They are so easy and they are so fun to use. Thank you guys, everyone, for hanging out with me today. We're over time. Sorry. But find me, Stardust Wanderer Tarot, Jen Sankey on all of the things. And I look forward to meeting you all and talking with you. And when you get your book, make sure that you tag me and all that good stuff, because I want to see. All right. Thank you so much.